Alright guys, this is Farmer Dan or Plowboy. Today I figured I'd just go over my compost setup. You guys have heard me talk about my compost before. I'm just gonna give you a run through how the system works. It's the middle of winter right now, obviously, so I mean any type of soil that I might be able to sift is now frozen. But I figured I'd just give you guys some basics. This is what my finished product looks like. It's got a little bit of corn stalks and fodder mixed in with it, just because of the fact that we have a local apple festival, and I usually take a lot of the corn stalks from there and I chop it in. It's a nice incentive towards the fall. But see, we don't have a whole lot of ground around me, and so what I ended up doing is I take all of our manure from our livestock and I put it in windrows outside, and I let it sit there and I let it kind of decompose anaerobically right now because I don't have the machinery. But then what I do is I set it in here. Once it decomposes to about what this looks like, right across here, I set it in here and I take this field tile and I put it into these holes, and I've got leaf blowers in there. It's kind of hillbilly, but it all worked out and everything's been free so far. But take the leaf blowers and I hook it up to the end of the tile on the back side of that wall over there, and I pretty much run the tile in little lines like this. Then what I do is I bury the tile, and I do this about 2 or 3 times up, as you can see from my holes, and I run it for about a day and a half. Now that moisture will not go away, but instead it'll help disperse it. So if I had rain on top of my compost pile, by the time I turn it around and get it mixed up and everything else, by the time it's buried in here, what it's going to do is that's going to help it a little bit, but this tile is what really helps disperse that moisture. And then we come over here and we get into some weird stuff. I got this lawnmower for free. It did not run at the time, and I got to run. The only problem is that the recoil on it keeps on breaking. So right now, with it being the off season, I'm kind of just tearing everything apart in here and just kind of working on it a little bit as I go by. But I pretty much, once that moisture is dispersed out and I get a lower moisture point from it, what I can do is I then put it into, I start shoveling it into this little lawnmower, and I can either shoot it out this way like this, or I can spin it around and I can use this as a backer, and I run it off of this conveyor belt here. Conveyor belt I'm also working on right now, obviously. And then what happens is I can shoot it into there, or what I can do is I got this elevator set up right now, and I can use this elevator and run it underneath here, either pile it up, or I can pile it up over here, or what I can do is I can forget about running it off of that elevator and come back over here, like I said earlier, spin this around like so, and then it sits like that. And then what I can do is I can shoot it out here and use that elevator over there, kind of run it at a nice angle right about to here. And then what that does is it'll put it in a perfect pile for me to take my blade all the way through here and just push it in a big old pile like what I did right here. Now the nice thing about having this elevator right here is it's at a faster speed and it takes more quantity. So what I can do is I run a PTO bar all the way through the back side of that wall over there, and I hook the tractor up, and at the minimal tractor idle, that thing's spinning fast enough in order to throw it all the way over to there, and you can see what it looks like when it does. Now down at the bottom, I had to shovel that out just because of, you know, if you guys have ever worked with silage, that's about the characteristics that this soil kind of throws at, except the soil is a little bit heavier. But so I can do that, or I can run this elevator underneath that elevator and then use a guard on that and then shoot it over into the corner over there. Or what I can do is I can shoot it all around here and everything else, and it creates a nice little pocket right here in the middle. Then what I do is I take it and I can shovel it into this elevator and run it up to here. Now what this is, well, I mentioned in the beginning that everything is free, and I usually took a whole bunch of junk they had laying around. That elevator and that lawnmower both came from the same guy. He was just trying to scrap it, and I said I'd take it. But getting back to the topic here, this right here is actually the drum out of an old junk dryer. And that motor over there was a motor that spun it. So, and then The rest of it is just junk plywood and junk wood that I had laying around. And that right there is actually the elevator paddles out of an old combine. And so what I did was I took the drum and the dryer, I tore it all apart, and I used the paddle chain off of that old combine and used the motor out of that old dryer, and I made an elevator. And then what happens is this elevator carries that soil up to the top, and I'll have bags underneath there because I also bag my compost. I sell it in bulk and I also sell it in bags. And I set my bags right in here, I screw everything in, and then it just drops right in there. And what I'm working on now is find a way in order to hoist something up here on the top couple of beams as a counter reactor for a balance. And then what I can do with that is I can use it in order to estimate my weight. So if I got, a chain hanging from here up here on the top of the roof, or maybe on a beam or something like that, what I can do is I can run a line through an eye hook and have one side holding a platform that the bag is sitting on down there, and then have the other side with 40-pound weights. And once those two sides level out and they're both staying at the same position, at the same amount of height off to the ground, I'll know what my weight is. But that's still on the drawing board right now. I haven't done anything with it yet. But yeah, that's pretty much what my operation looks like. Here's some of the finished product. Here's some of the other finished product. That stuff looks a little bit lighter just because when I was first doing my original batch, the first time I tried it, I set the blowers up so that way they'd run for like a week straight. And at that point, it did put all the moisture out of it, but it chopped so light it just turned it into dust. Now this stuff, that little 3-horse motor barely has enough ass to really cover it, but it does actually chop it at a very nice state. Right now I can't exactly show you because it's all frozen, as you can see. But once it thaws out, I'll have to show you guys what it looks like. But I'm going to take a nice little trip over here on the other side. And what I do is, I mentioned earlier that everything is either bagged or it's sold in bulk. Well, you guys didn't see any bags, and that's because I keep my bags in a separate barn. But I keep my bags in a separate barn just for the fact that it keeps it organized better. Everything's a little bit more stable. You don't have to worry about junk getting in the way one way or another. So in here, this is actually what I have left from this past season. It's not really a whole lot, but at the same time, there's a lot more soil in here when it comes to the weight than what you'd think. But I sell it in 40-pound bags, then I sell it in 150 to 200-pound bags, and then at that point I pretty much go by the half truckload or the full truckload. As you guys can see, my hand rag's not exactly the best, but that's not really what I'm here to do. So that's pretty much what it ends up looking like. But hopefully I can get some videos of me turning my compost if I ever get my compost turner built. I'm working on it at the welding shop right now. But I'll get that thing finished up and built, and hopefully I can get the kinks worked out of it and shoot you guys some videos on YouTube with that. And we'll go from there. But I guess I'll see you guys later.